Hi, thank you for watching us here at Tax Talk UK. Following on from our CIS information and submitting your return to receive your refund, we've been asked a few times, how much will my CIS refund be? So that is what I'm going to talk about now. Before I do, if I could just ask you please to take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you will easily be able to refer back to this information if you should need to, as well as being able to find information on a whole wide range of topics that we also have available. And if you want to get notified when we upload new content, then you should also turn on the notifications. So back to your CIS refund, how much is your refund going to be is always the burning question. Well, the simple answer is it depends. It depends on quite a few things. It depends effectively how much profit that you've made. Now, if you remember, in order to calculate your profit, you look at the invoicing that you've done and your sales to your customers, and from that, which is also known as your turnover, you deduct all of your allowable expenses. So your any materials that you've had to pay out on, any expenses that you've incurred, and we won't go into that in detail at this point because we cover that in a different video. So then you end up with your profit, your taxable profit. And from that, you will remember that when you do your self-assessment tax return, your liability will be calculated. So that will be any national insurance, class 2 and class 4, as well as any income tax. So then once you know your total liability for the year, then what we do is we're also going to look at how much CIS tax has been deducted by your contractors from your invoices that you've given to them. And basically you take the profit, the liability, the tax and national insurance that you're due to pay, you take off of that the CIS tax that's been deducted, and that gives you the end result of your liability. Now, quite often, depending on your profit, you may find that your CIS tax deducted is more than the actual liability, which then of course means that there's more tax on your account than is needed to cover the liability. So in that event, that is when you get a CIS rebate or a tax refund. It's all different terminology for meaning the same thing. So in effect, your contractor, what they're doing is you're saying, okay, I have done some work and here is an invoice for £100, say, for example, and they say that's fine, thank you very much, and they make a CIS deduction of 20% because you're registered with the CIS scheme and they've been able to verify you. That £20 that they deduct, they pay that to HMRC, and that goes on your tax account, your own tax account, and they give you the £80 different. So the full amount of your sale in that scenario is the £100, and that is what would obviously with your other sales make up your turnover and be used in the calculation to get to your profit. So of course there will be instances where the CIS deducted doesn't cover all of the liability, so it's not a given that you are going to get a refund if you've had a profitable year, for example, which obviously is a good thing if you've earned a good amount of profit, because the 20% standard rate deduction is set on the average subcontractor that would clear all of their tax and national insurance liability for the year. But it's the same as everything. Obviously we have in the UK we have national average wages. So to get an average, some people will earn way above that, some people may earn way lower than that. So if you think about it, when you are calculating your profit and then your liability from that. Obviously for the up to your personal allowance and up to the national insurance threshold, you have nothing, but the CIS deductions start from zero. So everything that you earn, unless you're registered for gross status, will have your 20% deducted from it. So if you think if you don't really earn that much above the your personal allowance, then your liability isn't going to even once you add on your class 4 national insurance, which currently is 9%. So once you get past the threshold for national insurance and your personal allowance, effectively anything above that, your liability is going to be made up of 29%, but only 20% is being deducted. So there will become a point where your liability, once you've taken into account your personal allowance, your liability will, if you've had 20% deducted, won't cover it. So if you have had a very high profit year, as I say, it's not a given, and everyone's is going to be different, but that's how it is calculated. And as always with anything, if you're not quite sure, if you're not, for example, sure what expenses you can claim, what is an allowable business expense, and you're not confident with that, then I would suggest that you look for a professional and engage their help in maybe completing your tax return for you, because accuracy is key, and making errors can be costly and have other implications in the future. So as ever, if you're not confident with it, then get some advice and potentially get someone to do that for you. And again, just a reminder, if you are engaging somebody to help you, then please do make sure that they are qualified for what you're asking them to help you with. So if you're asking them to do your tax return, make sure that they are qualified to be able to do that. But there's not a reason why you can't do it yourself. Just if you're not confident and you're not sure and you can't really get your head around it, then it's sometimes the best way is to seek professional help, as with everything. So I hope that that's helped and helps you to understand and maybe be able to interpret that in your own mind, and be able to calculate how much profit you've made and have a rough idea of what your liability is going to be, and then how much CIS has been deducted. Then that may help for you to give you a rough idea. But once you submit your tax return, if you are due a refund, then that should usually arrive within 30 days. So I hope that that helps, and thank you very much for watching, and thank you for the question and giving us the opportunity to know the information that you would like to hear about. And as I mentioned previously, please do take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.